Hey, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to The Approved Cooking. So today I'm going to be showing you how to make key lime pie. Now, in order to make key lime pie, you have to get key limes. And I drove around to both grocery stores here in my small town, and would you be surprised if I told you they didn't have any? But I said, F it, I want to make key lime pie, so I drove into the city, went to a couple grocery stores, and I was able to find them. So there we go, we're making key lime pie this week. So without any further ado, let's get into it and I'll show you how to make this. Alright, so let's get started on making this key lime pie, the recipe of which comes courtesy of King Arthur flour. Go get your food processor and get out 2 packs of graham crackers, as you can see here. You'll need about a pack and a half of these graham crackers, or about 142 grams of them. Throw them into the food processor and pulse until they become a fine powder. Once you have ground them up, take your lid off, and you're going to want to put in 1/4 cup of powdered sugar, and then 1/8, nope, hold on, it's really not coming out of the bowl. That's a pain in the ass. 1/4 cup of powdered sugar, then 1/8 teaspoon of kosher salt, and mix those together again. After they're good and combined, take the lid off and pour these into a bowl, because now what we're going to do is get 75 grams or 5 2/3 tablespoons of unsalted butter, melt it, and then add it in with the mixed graham cracker crumbs. Get yourself a fork, a spatula, or really even just use your hands if you want, and mix these all together until it forms kind of like a wet sand consistency. You'll be able to tell that it's a good consistency when you put it in your hand and you like squish it, and it stays in form, but it's not like sopping wet. So this is your pie crust for the key lime pie. Pretty easy, right? Go get yourself a 9-inch pie plate, pour the graham crackers in, and then press them down until they're nice and firm. You're going to want to really press down and press it up along the sides. Get yourself out a cup or a ramekin if you really got to press it down. That's what I ended up doing. It worked out pretty well. But anyways, preheat your oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit and bake this for about 15 minutes until it comes out golden brown. And while you're baking the pie crust, let's talk about the pie filling. So in order to make this, you're going to need a literal ton of key limes. They are tiny, as you can see. What you're going to need is to cut these in half and juice them to get 2/3 of a cup of lime juice. Now, as you can see here, as I'm squeezing them, there is not a lot of juice that comes out of these. So buy a lot of key limes. If you're going to be making this, buy a ton. It takes a lot. Now, quick fun fact, the recipe calls for 2/3 of a cup of lime juice. I accidentally misread that and put in 3/4 of a cup, so mine turned out extra limey. Make sure to use 2/3 of a cup. I mean, it's fine if you use 3/4, it just comes out a little bit more limey tasting, but the recipe calls for 2/3 of a cup. But anyways, now that I have all these limes juiced, let's move on to the next step of making the pie filling. Get yourself 3 large egg yolks and pour them into a mixing bowl. Then you'll want to add in the zest of 1 whole key lime. What you'll want to do from there is get either your electric mixer, or you can whisk this all by hand, but you'll want to whisk this together for about 2 to 3 minutes until it becomes light and fluffy. Once that's done, go get yourself about 1.5 cans or 400 grams of sweetened and condensed milk. Pour that in with the egg yolks and lime zest. Get your electric mixer again, or your whisk, and mix this together for another 2 to 3 minutes. You'll start to see it thicken up. Next, add in your what's supposed to be your 2/3 of a cup of lime juice. Again, I did 3/4 of a cup. And again, finally mix this for about another minute, 2 minutes. The lime juice will help thicken this up a little bit. The next step is go get your pie crust out of the oven and carefully pour all of the filling into it. What I would suggest doing is using your spatula just to smooth it all out, make sure it's nice and even, and hopefully you left your oven heated at 325 degrees Fahrenheit, because you're going to need to bake this pie for another 25 to 30 minutes until it sets around the edges. Now when you take it out of the oven, it'll be hard to tell if it's done because the middle will still be quite jiggly, but there's an easy fix for that. Go get your instant read thermometer like you see mine here and stick it in the center. If it reaches 145 degrees Fahrenheit, that means it's done. Let this sit at room temperature for about 1 hour to 2 hours, and then let it cool in the fridge for about another 3 to 4 hours. And while the pie is cooling, let's make a quick and easy whipped cream recipe, because key lime pie is nothing without whipped cream on top. Pour yourself out 1 cup of whipping cream, Add in 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar and a half teaspoon of either vanilla paste or vanilla extract. Then go get your electric mixer and mix this all together for about 3 to 5 minutes until it forms into whipped cream. Look how easy that is to make, right? Give it a quick taste test, and that is literally perfect. Okay, so here's the pie after about 4 hours in the fridge. I'm going to put the whipping cream on now. So I've filled up a piping bag full of whipped cream, and I'm decorating it as best as I can. I gotta admit, I'm not the best at decorating with whipped cream, but I don't think this looks too bad. And then let's garnish it with some thin slices of key limes. Now, these aren't for eating because key limes are pretty bitter. It's just to make it look nice. And I think that looks pretty good. Look at that, eh? This was pretty easy to make, I gotta admit, and I'm looking forward to cutting into this. So let's go in, cut a piece, and I'll tell you how it tastes. Now keep in mind, like I said, mine has 3/4 of a cup of lime juice. Yours will have 2/3 of a cup unless you want a really strong lime flavor in your key lime pie. So cut myself off a small piece here, take the lime off, I'm not going to eat that, and let's go in for the taste test. And oh yeah, that is good. Holy crap, it is sweet and tangy and just like absolutely delicious. Oh my god, this is good. Kudos to King Arthur Flour for this recipe. This is fantastic. You should make this at home because this was so damn good and super easy to make. Like, that did not take much at all. Well, anyways, that's the end of the episode. Drop me a comment, like the video, or even subscribe to my channel. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you soon on Idiot Proof Cooking.